If your car breaks down, or you get lost in the woods, stay away from the house at the top of the hill, because something evil lurks inside, behind every door, around every turn. And if you hear somebody behind you, whatever you do, don't turn around. The Power Drill Massacre.
Megan Brooke gets involved in a severe car crash with her boyfriend Jeff West. As she desperately explores around Pocono Mountains during sunset to seek help, she comes across an abandoned factory in a dilapidated condition where she becomes the target of the notorious Power Drill killer, who has been making the area seem like a haunted and a cursed place where countless people has gone missing and they were never found. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am covering the story of the Power Drill Massacre. I'm going to explain the story and the endings and the lore about the driller killer and the characters. There will be spoilers ahead. This is a warning. If you guys haven't played it, or if you guys don't care, continue watching. But still, hope you guys enjoy the videos. Stay tuned. In 1987, Megan Brooke and her boyfriend Jeff West gets in a devastating car crash, with Jeff in a fatal condition where he isn't able to move, so Megan gets a flashlight in the back of the car to seek for help. She comes across an abandoned rundown factory called the Brandon Sawmill. With no other options left, she has no choice but to enter the factory in hopes to find a telephone in this abandoned building to call for help, but the door behind her gets locked by someone to trap her within. Megan then finds a ripped newspaper article from 1982. It reads, "The search continues for two missing campers in the Pocono Mountains. Mason C. Sargent and Lori Summers of Long Island, New York, have been missing since June 8th. Their campsites and belongings have been located, but investigators have few leads. Police say there are no visible signs of a struggle, and this continues to be a rescue mission. The rest is missing." It is dated August 1982, 5 years ago. This concerns Megan, as someone collected these newspaper clippings, someone who could have had connections to this case. Otherwise, how would a newspaper clipping find its way here? Could have someone brought it here? Is someone here? Megan starts to get worried, but she is determined to call for help. Then she proceeds further, but this concern appears to not be unfounded, as a large figure that is dressed with white protective clothing, wearing a white face mask, wielding a power drill, and has his eyes set on chasing after Megan while screaming like a pig. After evading the psychopath, after Megan Brooke evaded the killer, she starts to catch her breath after the shock and experience. She stumbles across another paper. It reads, "Pocono vanishings, no trace of missing campers, April 4th, 1985. Since 1978, 12 campers have disappeared over a 100-mile stretch of the Pocono Mountains. We conducted dozens of rescue missions each year," says Park Ranger Charles Plank. "People come up here to camp and hike all the time. Without any experience, accidents happen." While most rescues are successful, these 12 stumped park rangers and local police. Campfires left burning, boots and jackets left behind, radio still playing. It is like these people were ripped away from their campsites, says A. Bradley, who was involved in the search for. The vanishing of these campers suggests that they were possibly abducted from their campsites. This leads to Megan thinking, which she thinks that this individual is possibly the abductor. Otherwise, why is there so many newspaper clippings? This individual must be the serial killer who keeps track of his murders, as if there's some sort of reward or trophy or satisfaction. As Megan continues to explore a little bit further, we find another note. It reads, "She's my little girl. We just want her back," Wilbur said it in a tearful plea. According to the Wilburs, Christine was playing near the bushes towards the edge of the campsite. "We called her for dinner. She just wasn't there anymore. Police are looking at all possibilities. Wildcats attacks are pretty common in this area," said Sergeant Bailey. but her parents think that she was abducted. There was no bear or a cat. We didn't hear any animals. Somebody grabbed her. Somebody took her from us. That's all it says. As we can see, this individual doesn't matter who he kills. He kills for pleasure, rewards, satisfaction. We do not know, but he seems to go for anyone that he sees alive. He's a cruel and evil person. We come across another note. It reads, "My name is David Ashford. My address is 3656 Corbin Hollow Road, Deer Creek, Massachusetts. I think I'm going to die here. I'm hiding this note in hope somebody will uncover it and know the truth about what happened to us. Somebody came to our campsite in the middle of the night and doesn't seem like this note was finished. I presume this is David Ashford, his spirit or ghost. This probably shows where he was running from the driller killer and he possibly died before he could fully write the note." Surprised and traumatized to the article, she forgets about the telephone and starts to try to find a way out. As Megan explores the factory further, we enter what is called the sugar tunnel. She heads down, hoping to find a way out. She finds an abandoned library. We come across one article that was ripped in 3 pieces. It reads, "The original building, the Sunshine Children Orphanage, was built by Russell Mort, the eccentric millionaire inventor who rose to fame during World War II and later committed suicide after allegations of child abuse. Inside the factory, Mort left no will and the property was forfeited to the state, which left it abandoned until a fire in 1975. It is ripped. Maybe I can find the rest." We start to find many documents related to the sites and we start to learn more about this factory. Could it be that the driller killer was a part of the Sunshine Orphanage and was abused by Russell Mort back in the day and he was traumatized? What remained of the building was converted into the Brandon sawmill. Since opening, 7 workers have lost their lives due to what state officials called a pattern of nearly criminal negligence in an effort to cut costs. Mill managers, on the other hand, blame industrial sabotage for accidents caused by faulty equipment, mostly rope and the harness failure. Somebody made the cuts in these ropes, said manager Bob Gibb. Just enough so we wouldn't notice, but enough so they would snap during use. State inspectors found no evidence of tampering. Brendan Mill to close August 15, 1981. After a series of accidents, the Brendan sawmill will be shut down later this month by state regulations who seek to lease the land to the State Park Commission. But some residents say the grounds are cursed after decades of mishap and fires and deaths. It is ripped. Maybe I can find the rest. This confirms in 1981 he started to gather all of these newspaper clippings to keep track of the history of the building. We continue further. We find a teddy bear that is down here. This confirms that the little girl was abducted by the killer. The parents were correct that their child has been abducted by the killer. As Megan continues to explore further, we find a chair in the dark, facing the corner. Megan starts to wonder, who was sitting down here in the dark? Could the killer be sitting down here? After collecting 3 keys colored green, blue, and red, Megan manages to open a door with these colored keys. This leads Megan down a long corridor where she finds a little girl. She calls out towards the girl, but sets on running. Megan runs towards her to get some help and to understand what is going on, when suddenly the psychopath killer appears on the door and sets on chasing after Megan. The colors within the corridor starts changing, creating a horrific experience, with the scene coming to a slow end with Megan still running. It eventually fades to the night sky with radio reporting on the ceasefire of Iran and the Iraq War, which was in 1988, and another report announcing the remains of the car found with only Jeff in the vehicle. Jeff had died due to blood loss and Megan is still missing. Then, unsettling screams and moaning sounds of the killer is heard, the game coming to an end.
found the remains of Jeff West after uncovering a wrecked vehicle off of Route 447. West and Megan Brooke of Montclair, New Jersey have been missing since May. Brooke's body has not been discovered. News at 11.
Au quotidien, c'est sur ta route.
Now, the question that all of y'all are probably wondering is, why is he screaming and crying? Well, he was throwing a tantrum because this was the first victim in his 10 years of killing to ever escape him now. Now, why he is crying is because, come on, who wouldn't? He was on a kill streak. He had 12. He was going for 13. He was gonna go for the legendary. And this girl ruined his whole 10-year streak. Who wouldn't be mad? Let's be honest here. Alright, my bad. I got kind of off track. Okay, my bad. Let's continue on. After Megan escaped, she was traumatized and went into a hospital to recover. So their vehicle was found 1 year later in May 1987. They crashed. Megan only had a mild concussion, but Jeff had 2 broken legs. 1 year later, they were found in 1988. This ending is considered the good ending, but the second ending creates some room for more of an explanation. Megan comes across a secret room which turns out to be the Power Drill killer's lair. As soon as she enters, the door behind her closes, trapping her within. The walls inside are decorated with child's drawings under the old wallpaper, which this room is from the time this building was an orphanage. The scenery soon shows of what has happened here to the past victims. There seems to be cages for humans like they're animals or dogs. There's blood smeared everywhere. There are human remains everywhere. There's even a body on this bed. It seems like someone still sleeps on this bed as well. A skeleton can be seen on the old stained mattress. There are tools of torture which seems to be used for dismembering human parts, as there is a bone forcefully placed in the toilet. Megan sees teapots and cups and cages to trap his victims. Megan realized the killer has a mind of a child. The killer knocks her out and puts her in a cage, strips her clothing. The killer tries to talk to Megan, which Megan doesn't understand. He mumbles and sounds like a child, which angers the killer and rushes in with the power drill and executes Megan. A biblical line then appears, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, Revelations 2014, talking about sin and second religious death, which is an afterlife. The killer seems to have been one of the orphans who was raised in the Sunshine Orphanage after World War II. As alleged, Russell Mort was the owner of the orphanage. He was accused of abusing the orphans and took his own life after it went public. The killer might be one of the orphans who was abused by Mort, who couldn't live past the trauma and sustain a mental disorder, keeping him at a state of a toddler. The developers confirmed the killer has the mind of a 3-year-old child. That is why his lair has children drawings on the walls. The killer also makes unintelligible children noises, more like mumbles, as if he's incapable of speaking. The killer's favorite weapon is a power drill. As his weapon to kill his victims, he has some sort of experience with power tools. He grew up still suffering from the PTSD, and he might have tampered with the equipment in the sawmill factory. That is how he had his experience with power drills. I will explain more about the game as soon as they release the full version. They're finally working on the project after like 15 years or something. They were planning on making a prequel for some odd reason, acting like they're not done with the first game. Luckily, it was canceled. Thank you. Shoot. But yes, I will explain more, but I'm not gonna like explain theories or something because it's not really like confirmed. Of course, you know, it's just theories, you know. I could talk about them, but there'll be no point if it's not like part of the story or the lore. But yeah, I will explain further as soon as the full game releases. The biblical verse implies that Megan did a sin, and we do not know of such a sin since there's no lore on Megan yet. They were hoping for the prequel to have some sort of lore, but what's the point of making a prequel if you guys haven't never finished the first game yet? So yeah, the biblical verse explains that Megan committed a sin, and their second death is more gruesome and lethal than their first death. So what I'm trying to say is like Megan is probably gonna go to hell and suffer for eternal life or something. And the corridor, you know, when we were chasing after the kid, is probably us going towards the gate or going towards hell. There was a white and red, you know, like vibe to it. Like the corridor starts to change, we start to bend reality, and the kid might be one of the orphans who died way back. But yeah, that basically explains everything. They were gonna make a prequel, they canceled it. The full game's probably gonna come out 2024, 2025, I'm not sure. The biblical verse explains that if you commit a sin, I think if I remember correctly, they commit a sin. I read it on the wiki, I think, or something. They committed a sin that their second death will be more painful or hellish. Like, you know, they suffer more. Their first death is easy, you know what I mean? But yeah, the power drill killer has a mind of a 3-year-old. We think the power drill killer's like his favorite weapon is a power drill, right? And he probably has experience from working at the sawmill. I'm not sure because it never connected anything about the sawmill and about orphanage working. But back in the day, kids used to work, so I'm gonna suggest probably that's a true theory. Of course, I'm not trying to talk about theories here, but you know what I mean. Sorry for prolonging this video. In the next video, I'm gonna explain Night Watch. It is a prequel or sequel to the main Power Drill Massacre, and that is where it all started too. The Night Watch, it all started, the Power Drill Massacre and the killings. By the way, I'm just gonna announce this. I have a problem with pronouncing words, and I sometimes stutter. So if you do hear some like messed up audio parts or cut out parts, that's where I've been trying multiple times to record my voice properly. So if you guys seen that and that kind of makes it feel out of place, I'm sorry, but sometimes I mess up on pronouncing words and I stutter a lot. I hope I'm just saying that it took me a while to make this video. You know, since I stutter a lot, it's kind of a problem. I mean, it's not a problem, but you know, it just makes it a little bit longer for me to record. So hope it didn't bother any of y'all, and if y'all did stay for this long and still watch and still liked it, I appreciate y'all for enjoying the video. I hope you guys have a good day and night. You guys are the best. Bye bye. If only Jeff West didn't want to talk to us. Megan, there's something I've needed to tell you. I'll come pick you up on Tuesday and we can talk, Jeff.